I live in darkness. I live in a physical darkness. But I always say I can't see physically, but I look at people not by the way they look, but their inside, their souls, their neshamas. And I connect through a neshama, not through how people look. It doesn't matter to me how people look, how they dress, and how they don't dress. What matters to me was inside their soul.
Welcome to Ordinary People with Extraordinary Stories. I'm Chana Weisberg, host of this podcast. I hope you will join me in welcoming a fabulous guest from today. Her name is Gitty Zee, and she is actually not able to see. So she cannot see us, but she can hear us very well, thanks to all the technical setups that we've done. And she is an incredible woman who I thought would share her story. She is an author. She wrote the book Many Ways to See. It's a children's book that really teaches you about the power of seeing through all different ways, not only through our eyes. She is also a program liaison. She's a public speaker and writer, and she spreads the awareness of overcoming challenges. Thank you so much for joining us, Gitty.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, pleasure. So I know it was a little challenge to get everything set up, but we're all set up now, so we're good. Yeah.
Thank you.
And it just gave me a little bit of a taste of what it must be to live life in a way that you're always like trying to set things up in a way that it's actually going to work with
Right.
technology and so forth.
Yes.
Wow. So I hope you'll be sharing some of that with us. But
And
but
show
but
out.
but first start with that. Start us off on, your birth when you were
Right.
born, what happened in your story.
Okay, so I was born with a physical disability called spina bifida, which means that I was born with a hole in my spine. The muscles in the legs do not develop properly because of the hole in the spine.
Mhm.
Everything below the hole it gets impaired and paralyzed
Wow.
um, to different extents and different people, depending on where the hole is, though. But
Mhm.
for myself, it's the lower back. Um, so I wear leg braces. Um, I, Baruch Hashem, was able to go to a mainstream school my whole life. Yes, it was
Mhm.
difficult, to say the least,
I can imagine.
socially, academically, um, and
So at that point you were not mobile. You were
I was
not
not
you
mobile. No, I was never mobile. Well, I was mobile, but I mean, I was always able to walk. Um,
but with
but with braces,
braces or what?
with leg braces,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Uh-huh. And at what point did you actually lose your sight?
So in 5th grade, I was hit by a car at the end of the year. Um, I was um, crossing the street with somebody, and a car did not see us and hit us. And after the car accident, I was told that everything was fine. I was sent home from the hospital, and apparently that was not true.
Mm,
7 months after the car accident, I suddenly started complaining that I couldn't see the blackboard. So
mm,
my teacher thought there was something wrong, and she tried, switching my seat a few times. It didn't help.
mm,
And then I could no longer see the lines on my loosely papers, and we thought something wrong with was wrong with my handwriting, and we tried working on that. Didn't help. Finally, I went
mm,
to the eye doctor, and he said, "Your eyes are fine. Go check out the shunt, which is a tube that was put in when I was born. Besides having been born with spina bifida, I was also born with something called hydrocephalus, which is often comes along which often comes along with spina bifida, which
mhm,
means that a fluid buildup in the brain, and a tube has to be put in to drain the fluid away from the brain.
mm,
In my case, but after they assume after the car accident, the shunt broke and the fluid put pressure against the optic nerve and destroyed it.
Mm.
and that's why I was having trouble seeing.
Mhm.
Um, so eventually I had surgery. First, I had an MRI. They found that it was taco broken, and um, I had surgery to fix the shunt, but they couldn't fix the optic nerve anymore.
Oh, wow. So what did that mean?
So I was able to see some for a while, even like a few months afterwards. I was still able to see to an extent, um, but eventually, it, like basically all disappeared. All I have now is some light perception.
Mhm. You have now some slight perception or none
Some
at
light,
all?
very little light perception. Like I could tell when you turn on and off the light when I'm
The
sitting in a
light.
room. I definitely get affected by the sun when I go out in the
Uh-huh.
sun. My eyes really hurt. Um,
But otherwise, you do not see.
no,
Right.
no.
Mhm. So, how did you take to that news? I mean, you were already someone who was your mobility was
Right,
impaired, and now
right.
you couldn't see. How did that make you feel as a child?
It was hard. It was scary. Um, but um, I was told, and I don't remember so much of what went on then.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't remember ever being depressed or it was scary. But like angry, depressed, I was told many, many, many times that I would never was. How
Mhm.
that's possible? Maybe it was
Right.
denial. I don't know.
Uh,
um, but
are
um,
you a person just who has this, like, sunny disposition that just
usually,
takes every
yes,
Yeah.
yes, I'm usually very positive.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, and
How did your parents take to that? Like, what was their reaction to all this?
there was very little talk about um, how they felt. It was just
Mhm.
like, we're going to do this, and and you're going to be fine, and life is going to go on, and
Mm.
you know, we'll do whatever we can to help.
Mhm.
Um, but you know, other than that, I never heard anything else.
Did they help you a lot with
For sure.
things? Did they,
Well,
like
yeah, but for getting services, after I
Mhm.
lost my sight, my parents did everything.
Mhm.
Schools were not equipped. They
Mhm.
didn't have the knowledge.
Right.
They didn't have the
I I I d
know-how.
I did read, though, that you were saying how your parents were very into your own independence.
Yes,
Like, w how
yes,
can you explain that?
yes. Um, they pushed me to do whatever I can, as soon as I was able to. Um,
So a normal, like, reaction of parent will often feel like, oh, just coddling the child and
no,
taking over for
no,
them and not
no,
doing it. Your parents were not like that.
no,
No.
no.
They wanted you to be an independent
Yeah,
adult.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. So walk us through a little through your schooling. You said it must have been very, very hard. What was that
So
like?
socially, it was hard until I was in sixth grade. Before that, the girls just didn't understand that that my mind worked.
Mhm.
My legs didn't work. Yes, I was
Mm.
teased, I was bullied.
Mhm. And how did you react to that?
So I I think that at home I didn't talk about it.
Mhm.
Um, but when I was in fifth grade, my English teacher was so, so, so helpful. Like every time I had a problem with the girls, she would come, I would go to her and she would give her give her a daily speech about being nice to me, and they would all
Mhm.
apologize, and the next day it was the same thing. They were
Mhm.
very, very, people just girls don't understand. I mean,
Right.
children don't understand.
Right.
Um,
What message would you wanna share with children who are having someone in their class who's different than them or with the parents of these children?
okay, we're all different. We all have different strengths and different weaknesses, different capabilities, different things that we're able to do, things we're not able to do. That's just the way we were all created. Nobody can do everything. And when you see somebody who acts different than you, who looks different than you, who's can't do the same things you can, whether it's walking, seeing, um, look at look at them for who they are, what they can do. Focus on what they can do, and that will help even them focus on the things that they can do instead of focusing on all the things that they can't do. Because
Mhm.
we all have things we can't do. Nobody's perfect. That's why we're here.
Mhm. Absolutely. You're right. Um, and did you feel like how did you feel that anyone gave you that message? Like, how did you become the Gitty who you became?
Um, so, like I said, I was always um, very positive,
Mhm.
and I had um, teachers, a,
Mhm.
certain teachers, who were very encouraging, especially the little year I lost my sight, um, who constantly would telling me every time I said I can't, she would say, "Can't
Mhm.
is not in my dictionary,"
Mm.
and it got ingrained in me because I was the type of girl who, if a teacher who I really liked said something, it became my motto. It became, I want to listen to her. I I I want to um, believe her.
Hmm.
Whatever she says is holy.
Right.
Um, that's the way I was. Whatever a
Mhm.
teacher who I really like said, whatever they said was
Wow, that
gonna,
really shows the impact of
yeah,
teachers, how
yes,
teachers can really
absolutely,
make or break or anyone that we
absolutely,
respect, how they could really encourage you to become or
yes,
not become.
absolutely,
Wow. Wow.
absolutely. Um, and when I was in 10th grade, I wrote a journal entry called "Can't is not in my dictionary," and I
Hmm.
sent it to her as a gift.
Wow.
Um, and since then, that is my motto whenever I speak publicly. Can't is not in my dictionary. Think of what you can do. Stop focusing
Hmm.
on what you can't do. You say you can't, you won't be able to.
Hmm. Wow. And I could say I personally witnessed it when we were having trouble with the technology.
Yes.
You just were persevering and, "I'll find somebody who can help. I'll just get it going." And
Yes.
you did, and we got it on here. So
Baruch Hashem. It's just so funny because so much of my life is technology related now, connected because of my not being able to see, because of my blindness. So I am technology dependent.
Well, can
And
you tell us a little about that? I mean, a lot of people are not, don't know technology, so
right.
we're used to
So
that with the setups,
right.
but
So
you are very savvy in your technology. Tell us some of your tricks that you have that technology helps you.
so first of all, I use a smartphone,
Uh-huh.
because it's accessible. They specifically made it for people who are blind, or
Mm,
hearing impaired. Look at the settings in the iPhone, and that's what, that's all those settings are there,
mhm,
just to help people who are blind. Um, and it's completely accessible, when
mhm.
you know how to use it.
Right,
um,
wow.
I use a computer that talks. When I type, it says whatever I'm writing.
Mhm,
Um, every program in the computer talks with my screen
mhm,
reader,
mhm.
and
So
um,
it tells you out loud what you're
yes,
doing when you're
yes,
doing whatever you're doing, right?
yes,
Or enter or whatever else. It tells you
yes,
just what to press. Uh-huh.
yes. Um, on my iPhone, I use a lot of different apps, um, to help me identify objects. I can identify my money with an app.
Hmm.
I could identify colors. I could identify objects.
So
Um,
what do? You put it in front of the iPhone and
yes,
it
yes,
tells you the uh-huh,
yes.
interesting. The color or
Color
the
or
m
the currency.
or how much money it is. You
Right.
just take your money and put it in front.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Interesting.
Um, and
What about measuring things? Like you live al do you live alone by
I live
yourself?
alone. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
I am completely independent in the kitchen. I cook and bake,
Wow.
completely on my own. Um,
So how do you do that? How would you
so
measure something?
I have regular measuring cups like everybody else. I use plastic for milk and metal for fleishik, but
For
for
meat or
meat
for
and for
dairy?
dairy, right?
Mhm.
Sorry. And um, but they look like the regular measuring cups. I
Hmm.
actually also have measuring cups that have engraved in them braille. Um, Personally, I wouldn't use them for measuring because the braille is not really readable.
Mm-hmm.
It's engraved, but it's not really that readable.
Hmm.
Um, and um,
Interesting.
I use everything electric because I have a very small kitchen.
Hmm.
Um, so I have a convection oven instead of a regular stove. Although
Hmm.
I've for many years lived in an apartment where I had a regular stove, so I know how to use a fire, and I turn on the fire and know when things are done, and how to be careful with with the flame. Um,
Have you ever burnt yourself because of that?
no, Baruch Hashem, not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
um,
That's better than I could say.
um, not I burnt myself, but not on the flames.
Oh, okay.
If I'm like holding hot things.
Right, right.
Um, but just like everybody else.
Right,
And,
right.
I've cut myself,
Right, of
once or
course.
twice, just like anybody else.
Like cutting up an onion or a
Exactly,
vegetable, right.
exactly, yes.
Mhm.
Um, and after that, I bought myself cut-resistant gloves.
Oh, smart.
Yes, that I try not to cut without. I have
What
read a theory, so
wow. What about a siddur, a prayer book?
I have a prayer book that's in Braille.
Mhm,
Um, Actually, um, I was showing it recently when I spoke, and my agent actually said I should please show it because the bottom of the first page is torn. She
mm.
wanted to show how much it gets used and
How much use it
how
has.
yeah, and
Wow.
how like many people have that with their own books.
Wow. What inspires you when you pray?
um, I like to think of myself a very spiritual person, and um, I f- try to remember that everything I have only comes from God.
Mhm,
And if I want something, He's the only place I can get it from.
mhm,
Um, and just like listening, I try very hard to listen to inspiring things. I listen to podcasts and classes all day.
Well, I was so flattered to hear that you were a fan of this
Yes,
podcast.
absolutely. I follow on Spotify. Get new ones
That
every
was
week.
amazing.
Yes,
Wow. That was
yes.
amazing to hear. That was
Not the
really,
only
really
Chabad podcast that I listen to.
oh, amazing. Wow.
Yes.
So you spoke about, when you pray that you
Yes,
think about all the things that God gave you. Do you ever
yes.
think about the things that he didn't give you and why he didn't give you it?
So I could focus on that, but I really, really try not to, and it's very
Mhm,
hard
mhm,
because if, like I say when I speak, if if he didn't give me something, then I don't need it, and
mhm,
if he took away my sight, then I don't need it.
mhm,
And there's a whole campaign now for watching your eyes. So I
mhm,
say I watch my ears.
mhm,
I'm careful with what I listen to. I'm careful with
mhm,
what kind of music I listen to because
mhm.
watching my eyes is not my um, talent.
Watching what you see is not a challenge,
Right,
that you should only see good things,
right,
but you
exactly.
do watch what you hear
Yes,
because that
yes.
right. Interesting. But what do you mean that, if God didn't give you sight, that's not what you need? I mean, wouldn't it be easier for you if you
It
had
definitely would
sight?
be easier, and I did have sight for 11 and a half years.
Right.
Um, but he took it away from me. God took it away from me.
Mhm,
Um, for my purpose in life, for now, he obviously feels that I don't need my eyes to work.
mhm,
And I try to focus on that because I could focus on like why'd he take it away from me and what life would be so much easier if I would still be able to see and I'd be a lot more independent. Um, but it only brings me down when I think about that.
mhm. Right.
It,
Wow.
you know.
Is it a challenge for you to always stay, like, focused on what you have rather than what you don't have? And what do you do when you get down so you can bring yourself back up?
It's not a challenge. I do find myself saying, I can't," and say, "No, no, 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 I can. You can." Can't is
Mm,
not in the dictionary. Like if I get frustrated, like something falls or something falls apart, or
right,
um, it is frustrating.
right, of course.
I'll give you a small example.
Sure.
I'm a crafter,
Mhm.
and
What kind of crafts do you make?
I make pot holders
Oh,
on a loom,
wow.
um,
Wow.
and they do fall apart. The loops in my hand do fall, and they do get unraveled. And just last week, I was working on one, and the last two loops just kept not working. They were falling
Mm,
apart. They were just not straight. I just did it over and over and over again, from about 6 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night.
wow.
And then I was taking the um, pot holder off the loom, and it all fell apart.
Nice.
It's not the first time that
Right.
happened, but I was so confused at that point. But I said, "Okay, fine. This one is not supposed to work."
Mm,
And when my craft instructor comes back, she will figure out what went wrong. Um, but um, obviously, this is that one was not supposed to work,
wow.
and they usually do. And when they
Wow.
do, I thank you Hashem, thank you God
Right.
for this.
Right.
This one worked, and the next
How
one
do
will.
wow. How do you think we can, like, we can all get that attitude? Because there's all we all have things that aren't working and we're frustrated about. How can we cultivate that attitude in ourselves?
Um, I think it's a lot of self-talk, a lot of
Mm,
self-talk,
mhm,
and and don't let the negativity in.
mhm.
It just it's just not healthy, and it doesn't help.
Wow. So this can't do it.
Yeah,
Nothing is can't in your life, and
right.
this just, not
Can't
letting in the
not in my
negativity.
dictionary.
Right, can't is not in your dictionary, and just this negativity, it seems like it's not in your
Yes,
dictionary either.
it's so interesting because when I meet people who are negative, it just grits on my nerves. It really
Really?
grits on my nerves. And I
Wow.
know people in my life who are negative, and it just grits on my nerves, and I'm like, I
Right.
can't relate.
Wow. Wow. So tell us a little about, what you do in your life. I know you work now?
So I work as a program liaison for an agency that supports people with disabilities. Basically, my job is to reach out to agencies that are providing services that we don't provide. We do
Mhm,
provide something called community rehabilitation and respite services, and services that we don't provide um, are provided by other agencies, and we collect the billing information that Medicaid paid for those services, and we are the physical intermediaries, and we document and keep track of what was billed, and we keep track of every participant's budgets.
mhm,
Um, so I reach out to other agencies, collect the billing information, and document it in our database.
mhm. Wow.
Um, and when services are no longer being used, I initiate removals. I
Mhm,
collaborate with care managers and brokers and agencies to make those removals happen, those service removals happen.
and you're doing this all on your
On the
computer?
computer,
I mean,
yes, yes,
so your computer that has a lot of technology that
yes,
helps you
yes,
to. Uh-huh. Wow.
yes.
I understand. And you also wrote a book, Many Ways to See. What was your message that you wanted to give to people in that
So
book?
that book was actually written at a very low time in my life. I was in 12th grade and I was having a very hard time
Oh, wow.
socially. Um, and I needed something to do at night. And don't remember exactly what my mind frame was at the time, but obviously it was um, 5 or 6 years after I lost my sight.
Mm,
And I guess I wanted people to understand how a girl who's blind lives and can thrive.
mhm.
Um, so I
Did you said can drive?
thrive.
They can thrive, can thrive.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Um, and I just sat down and started writing
Mhm,
basically the day in the life of a young girl who's blind. And um, at that time, I had a manuscript but no illustrations. And I had somebody take it with me to another publisher who said that they're not doing children's books.
mhm,
And I didn't have pictures and I didn't know how to publish a book. I just knew that I wanted it to be published. I didn't know where to turn. And I
mhm,
shelved it for many years. Took it out a few times and just didn't have the means to do it. I didn't have the knowledge, the know-how,
mhm.
um, and the right people in my life that knew how to get this
How
done.
to do it. Mhm,
And 3 or 4 years ago, um, maybe it was during COVID, um, I was telling somebody, I really want to make this happen. And she said, I have the right person for you. I know the exact person to help you do this. Um, and she connected me with my now agent, who
mm,
edited the book, um,
mm,
and reached out to Israel bookshops. She had a contact there, and
mm,
they said, "We'll take the book."
mm.
It was
Wow.
so, so, so exciting. Oh, and then
Amazing.
at the same time, um, I was doing art classes, and the person that was working with me, I sent it to her also, and she thought maybe it should be a coloring book. And then when my
Mm,
agent saw it, she said, "This is not going to be a coloring book. This is going to be a full-fledged book."
mm,
And they reached out to a website called Fiverr,
mhm,
where you can get cheap um, work for cheap.
mhm,
And we found a great illustrator,
mm,
um, and she worked very, very hard with her to make sure that the pictures were modest.
mhm.
Um, and Baruch Hashem, thank God it all came together.
Amazing.
And it was
What
published a year
what
and a half ago.
what has been the people's reaction to the book?
Amazing, amazing. Schools have bought it for their classes. Many, many people have told me that this should be mandatory reading for schools.
Mm. And
Um,
why is that? What message do you give to the to people?
it first of all um, it teaches basically, first of all, in a very educational way, um, how people who can't see, who are blind, um, how they manage daily, and that if you have a challenge,
Mm,
there are ways to overcome, and there's always a way to do something, whether it's different than other people. Um, when um, um, it's written very educationally, and it has little, I don't know what they're called, on the bottom of the page, very interactive um, questions
tips. Mm, mhm,
on each page,
mhm,
um, to be inclusive, to make the child, you know, understand and to feel how what it's like not to be able to see. So it's
mm,
very, very educational,
mhm,
and it also shows how you can do things, um, without being able to see. And in general, for anyone who has a disability or a challenge of any sort, that life doesn't have to end. Life doesn't have
Mm,
to stop. Um, when I was little, my mother saw, I was by a doctor's office, my mother saw a child wearing a shirt that said, anything is possible. It might take a
mm,
little longer.
mm,
And like that, like in different ways, like I always say when I speak, um, that became my motto. I can do anything, just at in a different way or at a different pace.
mm. So it's not that you can do anything that everyone does, but you
Right.
can do it your way.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Wow.
Exactly. And I don't have to do things the same way like everybody else because I'm not, I'm me.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
not anybody else. And
Mhm.
we all have things that we can't do.
Mhm.
And we're not supposed to be all the same.
Right. That's very true. How did you get into public speaking?
So, um, I had a counselor in camp who I went to Camp Stumberg. I was there for as a camper for 4 years, and then 4 years I gave workshops on coping with challenges. Um, One of the counselors that I had, she was in the Sauerschneider teaching special ed program, and she had she called me and said that she had a professor that needed a speaker. Can I come speak? And I said, I don't speak. And she said, yeah, 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 you do. Come, come.
Mm,
And I said, okay, I owe her a lot of
mm.
appreciation, Hakar Satov, and I said, okay, I'll do it.
Wow.
Um, and then
Were you
I
nervous? Were you nervous that first
I'm
time?
sure I was. I don't remember. I was in 10th grade at the time.
Right.
Um, and then I had a friend who was teaching 3rd grade, and I, for some reason, told her um, that I had done the speech, and she said, "You have to come to my class." And I said, okay, fine." And then after that, it was just word of mouth, basically. And then, once I was someplace, so somebody heard me, or somebody heard of me, and I
Mm,
started getting calls. For a few years, it was very busy.
mhm,
Um, and then for a few years, it wasn't busy. And then in February,
mhm.
I went to Florida. My agent set up some speeches in Florida. Um,
What
and
what do you like about speaking?
I love speaking. It's it energizes me. I know that I'm helping other people. It connects me to people. It brings um, me connect to know more people. Um,
Mm,
I enjoy helping people, um, and it empowered my desire to help people. Um, and I spoke recently in a school, and there were different girls there with different disabilities. And after that, I said, I'm in the wrong profession. I should be a life
mm,
coach. It's
mm,
just, even in Florida, there was a girl there, like, who raised her hand and said, I don't have a question. I have a comment. She said she was born with cerebral palsy. And she said, I have so many challenges every day, but I look at you and you have so many more challenges. And I said, for her alone, my entire trip was worth it. If I
mm.
can inspire and empower somebody else, then I need to be able to do this. I need to continue doing this.
Wow.
And I feel like um, I've heard many people say that they don't like when they don't like hearing, oh, you're such an inspiration. And I say, I was given my challenges for a reason, and
Mm,
we don't always know our purpose in life. But in this way, I feel I understand my purpose very clearly. That if these are the challenges that I was given, and I have the opportunity to inspire and to motivate and empower other people through my challenges, then this is my purpose in life, and I just have to continue.
Mm. Wow, that's really incredible. Um, I'm just wondering, like, what do you do when you don't feel this, like, strength and this positivity and this, when you're feeling a little bit like everything is failing and it's not going my way and it's not going so well, how do you cope with that? Or what do you draw from? What
I
inspiration
talk
do you
to
draw
people.
from?
I talk to people who inspire me, who are encouraging to me.
Mm,
Um, and so a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, stop it, stop it, stop it," and I'm like,
mm,
you know what? They're right. I really can. I'm just
mhm,
feeling low now.
mm,
Um, like I said, I listen to a lot of different classes,
mm.
daily stories, anything inspirational. Um,
Is there a favorite inspirational teaching that you wanna share with us?
um, I'm not so good of giving over things that I
No, it's fine.
hear.
Or a Torah story or Torah thought.
So
Mhm,
Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was in a cave for 12 years with his son, and he s- was in darkness in
mm,
the cave, and he only had the light of Torah. And when they came out, they couldn't connect with people. And anyone they saw when they came out was burnt up. And they had to go back inside the cave to relearn how to connect with the outside world.
mm,
And I live in darkness,
mm,
and I live in a physical darkness.
mm,
But I always say I can't see physically, but I look at people not by the way they look, but
mm,
their inside, their souls, their neshamas.
mm,
And I connect through a neshama, not through how people look. It doesn't matter to me how people look, how they dress, and how they don't dress. Um, what matters to me was inside their soul.
wow. If only all of us could see that way, right? If only all of us could have
Yes,
that kind of vision.
yes.
Wow, that's incredible.
I say I don't have sight, but I try to have insight.
Oh, wow. Wow. And that's just the name of your book again, Many Ways to See
See,
that we can
yes,
really see in a deeper level.
yes, yes.
Maybe maybe you've taught us in this interview how to look at people with a little bit more of that soul.
Yeah.
Um, Gitty, my last question for you is just tell us a little about what your dreams for the future are. I know you have different ideas of what you wanna do with yourself.
So my dream is actually to become a social worker, um, so that I can, on a more experienced level, not just with life experience, um, know how to help other people. Um, and I want to be able to coach parents and teachers who are dealing and working with children or adults with disabilities. I want to be able to do support groups for parents who have children with disabilities. And I've done it many times, but I
Mm,
want to really be able to do this professionally. And not because I want the money, because I really
mm,
want to know that I really have the know how.
mhm.
Um,
The best skills
yes, the
possible.
best skills, exactly.
Mhm,
Um, and so, yeah, I want to do support groups for parents, for children, for adults, for teachers. I want to. I would love to go into schools and train teachers who are dealing with children with any kind of disabilities and encourage them that there is somebody who can help them, and know that if you're dealing with a student with a disability, there are ways um, that a teacher herself or himself can be that inspiring person
Mm,
to a student, and a student can be the teacher can make or break a student very often.
mm,
And I just want students with disabilities to have only as much as possible positive experiences in school, because very often academics um, the is not easy for students with
mhm,
disabilities of all sorts, and it can turn them off,
mhm,
unfortunately.
mhm,
I also want to say that I have a website, that's manywaystosee.com,
mhm,
where I post many, many different poems, and I talk about different gadgets that I use. Um, and I send out posts every week or 2 weeks, with new poems and new information, and it's
mm,
constantly being updated. If anyone's interested in hearing more about my story, they can get information there. And to book a speaking engagement or to even buy the book, it's also available on the website.
mhm. Wow. And just one last thing, can you give us any, tips of, what we should or should not do when we're dealing with somebody with a disability or a blindness? Like, I'm sure you've had people doing the wrong things and people doing the
Yes,
right things. Give us some advice of how, because so many of us just don't know, and we're not trying to be mean or be ignorant, we just don't know what to be doing. So are
right.
there any tips or tricks of what we should be doing or should not be doing?
So, first of all, when talking to somebody who has a disability, use normal tone of voice,
Mm,
use normal words. People always are scared to um, say, "I'll see you later," or "Did you
mm,
see that?" or "Oh, do you know who I saw?" These
mm,
are all things that I say all the time, and not using them is awkward, and it makes the
mm,
conversation awkward. And just be yourself.
mhm,
Um, Very often, people are saying to me, um, "So nice to meet you," or "So nice to see you," "So nice to see you,"
mm,
and
mm.
and then they'll correct themselves, and I'm like,
Right.
"That's so awkward. Why?
Mm,
Why do you need to do that?"
mm,
Um, it's awkward for the person. Like, why do you need to put yourself in that position? Just be yourself.
mm.
Um, and also,
It's a good point. It would be my first reaction to stop saying words
right,
like "see,"
right,
right.
right, exactly. Um, and I've been there many times, and I'm like,
Mhm.
just be yourself. Correcting yourself does not make it easier for anyone.
Right,
Um,
right.
um, and talking the same tone that you would talk to your own friends or to
Mm,
any other person, especially when you're talking to an adult.
mm.
Um, I always say the story that I was in camp and a staff member came over to me and she said, "Hi, my name is Leah. Could you say Leah?" I was about 13 at the time.
Oh,
And I said, "No." And she said, "You're not in the mood?" You can be sure that girl never ever came back to me. I have no idea who she was. I don't know if someone told her, "Don't do that again,"
right.
or she got embarrassed because she realized how silly she was sounding. Um,
Mhm,
but I it 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 had such an impression on me that I remember it till today, and every time I speak, I use the same example,
right,
because it's just so not necessary.
right.
And
And just because a person can't see doesn't mean
doesn't mean
that
that
they're
they can't hear or their intelligence is
right.
impaired.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Mhm. These are good examples.
yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Is there anything else that we should know?
um, what else? um, like I said, tone of voice,
Mm.
and don't talk louder to somebody who can't see.
Mm.
Um, they can hear you perfectly fine, and very often much
Probably
better.
better. Right, right,
So people always ask
right.
me if my hearing is better. My hearing is is more in tuned because I use it more to
Mhm,
compensate.
mhm.
Um, but
Is your smell also more
yes, yes,
sensitive? Mhm.
yes, yes,
Wow, and
very.
touch as well?
Yes.
So all
People
the other
ask me
senses.
when I speak that I show Braille, and I give out a Braille alphabet card, and they always say, "How do you feel it? Like, how do you know the difference between the A and the B and the C?" And I'm like, "My sense of touch is more in tune, more sensitive. When you look at
Right.
the Braille, you need to look at with your eyes because your sense of touch is not as
Sharp.
sharp, right?"
Mhm.
Um,
Wow, that's beautiful.
yeah,
Gitty, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your inspiration with us. We
you're
wish you to
welcome.
keep on going
Amazing.
and don't let "can't" be part of your dictionary or
Exactly.
anything negative. That was a really
Exactly.
good message.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank
Thank you,
you. Take
Gitty.
care. Bye.
Wow, I think if the name of this, podcast, Ordinary People, Extraordinary Stories, is for anybody, Gitty is definitely the candidate. A regular, ordinary person, but what an extraordinary story and what an extraordinary message that she has for us. Can't is not part of her dictionary. Imagine if we put that in our lexicon. Imagine if we use that as our mantra in life. And no negativity. She can't stand negativity or feeling sorry for herself or feeling like, why is this happening to me? That's just not a part of her. And she stops herself when she does that. She has people, she has mentors, she has those who she goes to, teachers who she goes to, who don't allow her to feel that self pity. Her mother and her father, from the very beginning, were um, very interested in making sure that she's an independent person and runs her life in that independent way. And that comes across so clearly how she doesn't allow herself to feel that negativity, anger, judgment against God, just always looks at the good that she's been given and how she sees her purpose in life as a purpose to bring others out and to inspire others, and how that's such a central part of who she is and what she does in her life. That's her goal for the future and becoming a social worker. That's her goal and was her goal in writing her book when she was at a very difficult time in school in 12th grade, when girls were not friendly to her, when her classmates were not sociable to her. But the message that she took was she's going to teach people and inspire people to become their best selves. And I think that's just a clear-cut message for all of us in our own lives. Her different ways of many ways to see that there are different ways that we can all do things. I loved how she said how she looks at people and she doesn't see their clothes, she doesn't see their eye color. She looks at them and she sees right down to their soul, their neshama, and what's really important. And if only all of us could look at others in that way, could learn from Gitty how to see, how to really see. I'd love to hear what you thought of that interview. I'd love to hear what you brought into your own life from Gitty Zee. If you enjoy watching these podcasts, I hope you are subscribed to Chabad.org/extraordinary. I hope you can watch us as well on the go on Spotify or Apple, all podcast platforms. You can see us as well on YouTube, where we are there, and so you can write us a message. You can like us there. We'd love to hear from you. We love to hear your feedback. We love to hear how we've impacted your life with our very meaningful interviews. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of this extraordinary community.